managed to bounce back thanks to their excellent and prolific players.
Personally, I'm very proud of this team because the team has disappeared for long years and is now coming out with a good play, and we hope that they will go forward and bring us a lot of joy.
Coordinator and spokesman of the event, Lionel Ntuba, made detailed the reasons behind the event at the governor's office.
We decided to bring our support to everywhere of Mungo. When we won the Entrepreneur Challenge, we decided to present the trophy to His Excellencies, the Governor of Victoria Region, who started here. Now we will follow in Mungo Division with a Congress. And the message is to bring more people to support Ewane Mungo because it's the next step of the life of the team. Next step, we were in League 2. Now we are going to Elite 2.
Presented with the champions of the Littoral Regional League Trophy, man of the match of the National Interpol Trophy, and finally champions of the National Interpol Trophy, the governor of the region alongside the president of the Littoral Regional League and other dignitaries present proved they were indeed glad with the success of the club this season.
Now, security officials in Megangambira division of the Adamawa region of Cameroon have carried out an operation aimed at dismantling a gang specialized in car theft. The operation led to the arrest of a 43-year-old suspect and an 80-year-old Indian hemp trafficker and his wife Joy Ngang completes the story.
This black vehicle you see was stolen in Gounder a few days ago and has just been recovered in Meganga in the compound of this man whose name we got as Muhammadu Lawal, a 43-year-old ex-convict. According to the commander of the Meganga Brigade, the operation which led to this discovery was under the orders of the Adamawa Legion of the National Gendarmerie.
From our hierarchy that they have stolen the vehicle in Gounder. On our way now, making our routine, our regular patrol, catch up Mr. Bachat, who was smuggling banga, what we say banga, with the teenagers. And then we caught immediately some of the items, knowing like forbidden, like chicha, that they were smuggling.
The investigations which led to the arrest of Muhammadu Lawal also saw the arrest of 2 young girls in active consumption of hard drugs. A bike was seized, as well as stocks of Indian hemp and illicit drugs.
The person known as Bachat, the real name is Muhammadu Lawal, and alias Basha, is one of the guys that they always known like a notorious chief in the town. And to cover myself without telling all, in the archive of that, the same name, we have, I mean, the past years, we were...
80s alongside his wife were equally arrested, and a research team at his residence recovered 54 bundles of Indian hemp, which they distributed secretly in Meganga.
When we spot one of the teenagers, she sent off now out of this the same place, and we went in other quarter where we met some old people, and then now we were detaining the same banga and so on. We caught them, and then we are now continuing to exploit them to have to catch in the future some other complices and other people who are keeping the same forbidden items.
All suspects have been transported to the Meganga Gendarmerie as they await criminal.
Northwest region of Cameroon joined their peers to celebrate the 2022 edition of World Teachers Day despite threats and calls for boycott. During the ceremony, the Senior Division Officer of Ngokotunja, Kwetong Harrison, urged teachers to remain resilient and ensure a smooth 2022-2023 school year in that division. Our Northwest correspondent Charles Keba with details in this report.
World Teachers Day in Nsungkikang division of the Northwest was celebrated with pomp and perjury despite threats and propaganda for boycott of the celebration.
celebrations of marking the 28th anniversary of World Teachers Day at the divisional headquarters in Wokitunja. And as we all know, there was a lot of propaganda for boycott, accompanied with threats and intimidation. But I'm very, very happy today. The teachers in their numbers, though not satisfactory, but considering the prevailing situation, have turned up to celebrate this day.
Ngakochinja SDO Quentin Harrison, despite the turbulent annals in the division, appreciate the teachers for last year's performance in public examination, call on them to ensure schools are effective in the entire division, while appeal the teachers sustain their moves with effective presence at their job site.
Which is that they should sustain this effort with effective presence at their job site, so that we can make a successful academic year, better than the excellent performance. Maybe we should do better than we did last year in last year's exams.
The teachers who turned out in their numbers to celebrate World Teachers Day, Ngakochinja SDO reminded them the teacher is like a candle that consumes itself to light a way for others. He encouraged the teachers in his division while celebrate their day, ensure the academic school year in the entire division ends successfully. March past, grace the day.
Still in line with Teachers' Day celebration, teachers in Tombel subdivision, Kupe Maninguba division of the Southwest region have celebrated the day with a call to shun fear and create an enabling environment for studies. The call was made by the division office of Tombel Nyam Lenat at the Tombel ceremonial ground where teachers gathered to celebrate their day. Get details in this report right ahead. Unlike previous years, the ambience that used to characterize Teachers' Day celebration in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon has been a far-fetched dream as a result of the over 6 years crisis. We are at the Tombe ceremonial ground, Kupe Mwanenguba division of the Southwest region, where teachers came out in their numbers to celebrate World Teachers' Day, set aside to honor them for their contribution towards nation building.
And I've come to understand that the philosophy of education is the philosophy of life. Some professionals of the corps have come to realize that it's their function to provide a high-level, impervious, gainful, diligent, and effulgent education. Their second-order character grandiloquently described them as a spectator of all time and all existence, thereby putting philosophical questions in a cosmic setting. When the teachers urge to imagine, reimagine, and transform the future, he has to pursue and give value to his calling as a cosmic pace setter, despite the fact that he might be caught in an environmental pneumonia, which this presenter calls conflict.
During the event, the divisional officer of the Tombel subdivision appreciated the teachers for their bravery and efforts in reimagining the future as per this year's theme, despite all odds.
All of you here present, especially those who have been there and are here since 2017, you have been leading in crisis and really reimagining the future. I quite remember in 2017, the then principal of Government Bilingual High School, Tombe, His Majesty Chief Ekogen Joseph Elongeme, will receive messages in his phone, which read, "You are refusing to stop school. We shall come for you."
Tutoring in an environment where insecurity is the order of the day, with schools forced to relocate to safer zones, these teachers have remained determined. As things seem to have gotten better, teachers in Tombel were encouraged to shun fear and create an enabling environment for learning.
Do not allow fear to defeat you. Instead, conquer fear and defeat it so as to create a sound, enabling environment for learning. Permit me now to wish you all a happy Teachers' Day. Long live Cameroon. Long live His Excellency President Paul Biya, Head of State and Father of the Nation.
The ceremony at the Tombell Ceremonial Ground, attended by administrative, education stakeholders and municipal authorities, was spiced by march past parade.
The teacher.
The University of Ngaoundere officially opened its doors for the 2022-2023 school year Wednesday, October 4, 2022. The classes resumed effectively with lectures and students present in amphitheaters at the school premises. Get details in this report compiled for us by Cynthia Azano.
The University of Ngaoundere has launched the start of the academic year 2022-2023. According to students, this year kicked off with a favorable atmosphere in the school milieu. We just began lectures in a good condition. Right now we are waiting for the teachers to lead us well into the academic year. Other students are through for today. They started at 8 a.m. and ended at 2 p.m. But we are still here. I believe we will do them soon.
Je peux dire que, en gros, bon, le pourcentage, bon, à peu près, je peux dire 80.
I can say there are 80% present here today, so the majority is here. Lectures have already started, so we are calling on others to come fast because school has begun. The academic year began with a favorable climate. According to the Secretary General of this institution, it is important to monitor the turnout and evaluate the proportion registered in each faculty. We have done some investigations. Lectures have begun in the faculties, and we realized that those who came for their first time marked present. We can say back to school is effective in the University of Ngaoundere. This university, which has 5 faculties, registered 3,000 new students this academic year, which makes a total of 33,000 students.
In a related story, lectures effectively kicked off for the 2022-2023 academic year at the University of Marua. After a tour around the institution, the rector, Professor Idris Alum, expresses his satisfaction. Details with Catherine Kongwe.
It was in total serenity that the 2022-2023 academic year kicked off at the University of Marua, as a good number of students could be seen already receiving lectures. Present on the first day of school is the rector of the University of Marua, Idrisu Alum, together with other school administrators who visited several departments of the university to assess the effectiveness of school resumption. At the end of the tour, he expressed satisfaction with the turnout.
Je pense que ce début.
The 2022-2023 academic year has started already here at the University of Marua. We have visited different departments at the university and we are extremely satisfied. It is to say the students and teachers have started positively. This is to show that this academic year 2022-2023 was well prepared here at the University of Marua. This year was made possible due to the decision taken by the President of the Republic and the Minister of Higher Education, who advised on the professionalism of teachers in order to boost their quality of output. More than 734 teachers are already available for the university, which welcomes more than 4,500 new students on campus this academic year. Just like other state universities who opened their door this September 5, 2022, the University of Marua has started on a good footing.
Away from education, the brand ambassador of Bufor's Lega, popular pop African sensational singer Singular, is in Cameroon. At his arrival last night at the Douala International Airport, the face of Bufor had some answers for the press ahead of his welcome visit to the Prau to the grand finale of elegance competition. Jobajo Bufor still Nolinga welcomed him in our report.
The chase is on. The dial is cast. Who would be the winner of the 2022 Jobajo Elegance competition?
Beaufort.
Joba Job Beaufort Style is a competition by Beaufort Lager launched since the 9th of September 2022, open to candidates with style and elegance like its brand ambassador, Singular.
Beaufort, 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 Beaufort.
One day to the grand finale, Singular arrives Cameroon to set the ball rolling for the new face of the prestigious brand.
Beaufort, Beaufort, Beaufort.
At the Douala International Airport, the pop star assures the press, amongst others, the character must be handsome and fresh like Beaufort Lager.
Déjà, je vous promets que les gens seront sapés, élégants.
Meanwhile, during his walking visit earlier on, the artist got to meet with the staff and administration of Beaufort while performing his artistic roles. Meantime, the stage is set and the finalists ready to showcase their final skills come Friday. But who will be the winner? Take the rendezvous this Friday.
Beaufort, 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 Beaufort. Beaufort, 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 Beaufort.
On our health page, Bokengo Wadi talks about a postpartum disorder, a mental health condition that affects new moms, which may become severe and life-threatening if ignored. Details in this report.
Affecting women 6 weeks after childbirth, postpartum disorder is a common mental health condition which is on the rise amongst nursing mothers worldwide.
Postpartum disorders are disorders or mental conditions that affect women within 6 weeks after they have given birth. When it comes to postpartum disorders, it is very common and it's of the rising now in most women that have given birth. And one of the possible explanations is because of the difference in the expectations of women during childbirth and what they actually experience during childbirth.
Triggered by the difference of childbirth expectations, the health condition has 3 types, namely postpartum blues, postpartum depression, and postpartum psychosis, as explained by the midwife.
Talking about postpartum blues, it is very common among about 85 women that put to bed have postpartum blues, and it is a disorder where women experience mood swings. They have this feeling of tearfulness. They sit and they always feel as to cry. They have anxiety. They are too anxious. They are distressed. They are troubled. So with postpartum blues, like I said, is very common, especially within the first week after childbirth. When it comes to postpartum depression is a complication and is a higher level of mental disorders in the postpartum period. With postpartum depression, it is usually common during the 2nd and 3rd week after childbirth. So talking about the signs and symptoms of postpartum depression, we have mood swings, we have tearfulness, we have hallucinations, where a woman sees and she starts seeing things that are not real. The last form of postpartum mental disorders we have is what we call postpartum psychosis, which is the severest form of postpartum mental disorders. Just like the other forms of postpartum disorders, we also have signs and symptoms like mood swings, false beliefs, false ideas, like a woman sees and somebody carrying her baby, she thinks that the person wants to kill her baby. She sees somebody with a knife and she thinks that the person wants to use a knife to kill her baby. A woman sits and she starts imagining people coming into the room with knife trying to kill her. So we have this false belief, seeing false things, and there is also the thought of suicide.
Group support, therapy, medication, counseling, and more are some ways to help manage the condition.
A woman that has postpartum blues needs no medication. She just needs reassurance from her loved ones, from her partner, and that is it, and the condition is being resolved. With postpartum depression, a woman will need medications to help resolve the signs and symptoms. But what I usually advise when it comes to postpartum depression is psychological support. With postpartum psychosis. Treatment involves psychological support and use of antipsychotic medication.
According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 8 women suffer from a kind of postpartum disorder in their lifetime, most of which is depression. With sadness, anxiety, stress, fatigue, feeling lonely being part of disorder, experts say some fathers may also suffer from postpartum depression. To this regard, it is important for health personnel to include the whole family in treatment schedule for their well-being and that of their baby.
To news out of Cameroon, Captain Ibrahim Traoré has been appointed president of Burkina Faso less than a week after the latest coup in the West African country. He was appointed Wednesday, October 5, 2022. Details on this and top striking stories on the African continent with Nicole Taco.
What's making headline news in Africa today? Captain Ibrahim Traoré is the newly appointed president of Burkina Faso. He was appointed on Wednesday, 5th of October 2022, according to an official statement. This appointment comes after Paul-Henri Damiba was removed in the West African country's second coup in less than 9 months. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, president of the Patriotic Movement for Safeguarding and Restoration, will serve as head of state and supreme commander of the National Armed Forces. According to the spokespersons for Patriotic Movement for Safeguarding and Restoration, if the president is unable to act, his powers are exercised by the first vice president or the second vice president. Earlier this week, delegates from the Economic Community of West African States visited the country on a fact-finding mission and held meetings with religious and traditional leaders as well as the new military ruler. Away from Burkina Faso, let's now talk about Ethiopia, where the number of death rates of babies dying in their early months after birth is 4 times the rate before the war in Ethiopia, Tigray region. The most common causes of this death rate are prematurity, infections, and the inability to establish breeding at birth. Dr. Bereket Behe, a pediatrician, says the under-5 mortality rate during wartime has doubled compared to the pre-war era. That is to say, the death rate of a child in units in the first 28 days of life has doubled according to studies in Tigray in 2022. Almost 2 years has passed since the war started, and Ethiopian government isolated the Tigray region from the rest of the world, severing basic services such as electricity, phones, internet, and banking. And now we are taking you to Uganda, where the World Health Organization has announced an increase in the death toll from the Ebola outbreak. According to WHO's director, 63 confirmed cases have been reported, including 29 deaths. 10 health workers have been infected and 4 of them have died, while 4 people have recovered and are now receiving follow-up care. Note that Uganda had declared an Ebola outbreak on September 20, 2022 after confirming a case in Mubenda district in central Uganda. And on Tuesday, 4th October, the European Union had announced €200,000 to help the Uganda Red Cross fight the latest Ebola outbreak in the country.
That report by Nicole Taco ends today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television. Coming up at exactly 7 p.m. is Prime Hour with Kumlenat. I'm his team. My name is Fon Quinter. Meet again tomorrow, same time, God willing. Good night.
The whole idea of the call to action in Cameroon was to see how women who are frontliners, who are the people who react when it comes to emergency situation, can develop projects which they're using the bottom-up approach, which